Hi guys, and welcome to my Survivor guide on Propnight. Now, the first thing you want to do is get away from spawn because Killer will usually go straight to the spawn and look for you. Now you might be tempted to do this prop machine, but don't, because you want to first identify machines that are really close together, which is called a free machine, free gen, and you want to break that up. Like on this map, there is this one, then that one just around the corner, there, and then the one in the library. Here, or the one just upstairs there. So what you want to do on every single map basically is try and do gens in a spaced out manner that avoid a free gen situation, because if you get into a free gen situation, it's going to be hard in the later game to get one done, because the killer has to basically go like on a small patrol route and stop you doing the gen, which is going to be harder for you because as the killer gets stronger as the match goes on, they're going to be harder and harder to escape. It's also really important that you do the gens in the close proximity first, because when you do a generator, the killer will get coins like we can earn in the game, and they can open these chests and then they get abilities which will make them stronger. So you have to be smart and do the gens in the right order. Now you can either look around the map for which gens to do first, or you can check on Steam itself. There is actually a Steam guide. I can't remember who it's by, but it's... I can just check now, hold on. It's one on which generators slash machines to do first. It's called Correct Repair Generators, and in that guide it shows you all the machines that you should do and in which order to avoid a free gen situation. And I see here it does also include a new village map, so be sure to check that out. I will also link it in the description so you can visit that as well. At some point, if you're playing the game well, the killer is going to come and chase you, because you don't want to be just constantly hiding as a prop, because the killer benefits from it really. You're not doing anything to progress the match, you're not helping your teammates, and you're going to make it easy for the kill to win. Now let's say you do actually have to hide. Say I'm on this machine here and the killer comes from that door, or you know, that door or that door, right? You want to like turn to a prop, get away quickly. Let's just do this and hide. Now you want to hide where you can always see the killer, because you've got a third person view. The killer's only got a first person, so you have more of a view. You know, you can see more. Don't hide in places that are like this. This is a bad spot. It's bad to do because the killer will more than likely know the immediate area around this machine and any machines, and you'll get found because it's an obvious spot, and when you're a prop you have lesser health, you're going to go down quickly and you're going to end up in a hypnoter, so don't hide here. Hide away from it. Like, something that I would do is like this. See? Not so obvious now, is it? Okay, so let's talk props. Now the whole point of Propnight is not to stay in a human form, it's to be a prop. Ta-da! And a bottle. A Pepsi... what is it? A Pepsi Cola? Oh, prop cola. Okay, I always thought it was just cola, to be honest. Prop cola, I'm fake. Anyways, small props are great for getting around and being stealthy. You've got, you know, there's another one here. As you can hear, they make different sounds depending on where you are. Now, like I said, these are great for getting around and being stealthy. But they're also... You're kind of weak as a small prop because you'll see in the... one of your corners, I can't remember which one it is because I'm in practice mode, but you'll see, like, depending on which prop you turn into, you've got different health. Now, as a human, you have 100 health, yeah? But as a prop, you're going to have less. I think large props give you 100. I can't remember which ones. I don't think it's this one, but yeah. Large props will give you more health. And smaller props will give you less. But more often than not, you're going to find yourself wanting to be a small prop because they're more stealthier, and when you're small, you also move faster. But you are, what's the word, fragile as a small prop. So don't be a small prop if the killer is chasing you and you're really close to it, because you're gonna get hit and lose a big chunk of your life straight away, which is not going to end well. But yeah, experiment with the props, like different ones. Like, you might have a different preference. I recommend books are really good for using because they're quiet. You can slide across the floor with them. Find a book again, I'll show you. Like, I love doing this, just sliding along. You can move without making a single sound, because the props do make a sound when you jump, as you can tell. And also, when you're moving, you can hold and shift, so you keep yourself upright. I do this, like, also like a bunny hop with prop, which you do that just by quickly tapping the space bar. Great to get around and keep yourself low to the ground. And if you so want to be a light, you can do. Really good for disguising yourself as well when the killer's approaching. You want to hide. Just don't hide too much because you're going to be bad for your team, because you're meant to be trying to do generators and escaping. But yeah, that's props. That's how you use them to your advantage. You can be stealthy. You can be not so stealthy. I want to like battle the killer, but I'll get more into that in a different section. Or you can just be a light. Not sus at all, right? Maybe that's better. Let's put it over here. You can't get on that now? Wow. Okay. So yeah. That's props. Boom. So I'm trying to turn to this rabbit now and I'm getting this happening. It's because there's not enough space for me to transform into it, so you want to do it like that. That can also be a problem sometimes if you're trying to like turn to a prop and you end up in a sticky situation. Another thing you want to take into account while using props is you hear this noise. Killers can hear that. Killers can also hear when you're moving around as props. Now, depending on which map it is and the distance you are from the killer, it's going to be more obvious. And I see this a lot where people are like, how did you know I was there? You're cheating, you're hacking. Nah, the killer's not cheating or hacking, they've just got ears, they can hear you. A way to do this is to stop it, like, stop being so bloody noisy. And also another way to do it is to hold shift. As you can hear, I think it cancels out sound sometimes. You just gotta get good at doing that. It takes practice. Look at me. How did I know I was here? Hacker. Say the killer's like in that room here, just where the door is, and I'm doing this. You might hear that, so wait until they're a bit further away before you decide to move. Just a little quick tip there on the props. Okay, so you're doing a machine, and the killer comes. Now your first instinct might be to do this. This won't work very well. What you should be doing is this. Use up all your stam, get distance, and then turn to a prop. Because when you're in human form, you've got more health. You're also faster than the killer. Now certain killers, you'll not want to do what I just said to that extent, but for the most part that works wonders. Just use it with stam, get distance, and then prop. And now, as your stam's regaining, you just basically rinse and repeat that. Now let's say the killer's still chasing you, and at one point you basically need to get to safety, which will be your doors. You can close these doors and it'll stun the killer if the killer's within range of it. Now what I like to do is stand to the side. If you stand here, they're gonna like play this back and forth game with you more often to try and get you to close the door so they can break it, because once the door's closed they can damage it and it takes 2 hits and then the door's gone. So you want to stand to the side and wait for them to come through the door frame or just past it and close the door. This is going to take practice because depending on people's ping, it's sometimes quite off and it will not work. You'll find yourself going back and forth to get a stun and it can end in a disaster. But you usually want to stay here, close the door, and stun the killer, and then open it again. Don't leave it closed. Like, if you can help it, don't leave it closed. Now there is times you're going to want to just close the door and run because you'll be like, what, low on health and you don't want to go down. I only recommend doing this when you've got quite a bit of health and you want to stun the killer and just, you know, buy more time while the killer's chasing you. Don't do it when you've got low health, because it will, more often than not, you'll get hit through the door because the killer will predict that you're going to be here and it will hit you. But you can also stun them at the same time. It's a bit weird how it works, but just don't do it when you've got low health. Another thing you can do now when the killer's chasing you is to stun them as a prop. You can do it with small ones, but it's risky because of the health pool of props, like I said earlier. Or you can do it with big ones that have a bigger hitbox, more health, safer. But my best way to do it is like this. Okay, so say the killer's chasing me, and like, I'll do this, I'll turn away, keep hopping, and as the killer gets close, I'll jump over them, unprop, and bonk them, jump, land on the head, because your human hitbox is bigger than, I think, most props or all props. I'm not quite sure how it works, but let's just say it seems to work very well. But you need to practice this because you're going to want to get it right on their head, or at least on the forehead, and you will stun the killer. And because you're in human form, not only do you have the health, you also have the stamina to keep getting away and gaining distance. Now you can do this quite a few times really, depending on the killer and whether or not they're going to predict it, and if they manage to hit you sometimes through the stun, which can happen, you are going to lose health. So you don't want to do it if you're, again, if you hear your character groaning and panting, it's usually because you're injured to the point where you don't want to try this. I'll do it if I say like I've been hit once, I'll do it then. If I've been hit twice, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to play it safe and just keep running, getting distance, trying to get to doors. And if I can't do that, I will try lose line of sight, which is like where the killer can't see you anymore, and just basically just disguise yourself. You can also stun the killer with an item, which is from the character Isaac, the camera, which more often than not will give you a guaranteed escape for free if you just manage to blind the killer. A big part of this game relies on stealth and stam management, which when it comes to chases is what you want to be focusing on the most. Stealth works, but only in certain situations and against less experienced killers, which is why you want to get good at chases. Now, depending on the killer, there's certain things that you don't want to be doing. Let's start with Banshee. Okay, so Banshee's got this dash attack where she can catch up to you really quickly. So I'm on the gin and she's coming from, let's say, this side. I'm going to run again to get all my stamina used up. Get to a door, and now I'm going to walk. I do this quite often as Banshee. Now you just see, let's say she's chasing me there. I'm walking, gaining my stand back. Now listen for when she does this dash sound, and then sprint, because you're keeping the distance between you and her the biggest.
He's chasing.
The killer is chasing
Outside,
me.
going left, I think. Library.
Yeah, see? You can also do this with like a big prop as well. It's quite map and area dependent, but this also works. Says she's chasing me from this direction. I'm gonna turn to a bigger prop because Banshee has a screen which has a big radius which also weakens you, and as a bigger prop you have more health. So I'm gonna get distance while she's just hovering, and as soon as she starts to dash, I unprop and run. And you just keep doing that, really. So if Sheepman is coming towards you, you want to turn into the smallest prop, ideally something like this, and get away. It's going to have a hard time hitting you with a small prop because of the way his hook works. For some reason, it's not like it is with Granny's knives. So be a small prop and get distance, and if it manages to get you, then he's he's a really good aim. I've tried Sheepman, and I would say he's one of the very few killers that actually requires skill because of the way his aim works. So small prop, get distance. What you don't want to be doing is hiding near machines like this, or like this, because he has an AoE ability which is, it releases this gas and he can detect you nearby, and it does quite a bit of damage. So you want to get away from the obvious places again. Can't stress this enough. Get away from machines and hide. Against killers like him and Banshee, you don't want to be anywhere near that area because of the scream and the gas. So get away from the machine. Now, you'll most likely see Sheepman put down like an invisible poop bomb. And you walk into that and it causes you to take, I think it's like 1 health a second. So as a human, it doesn't really do much damage, you don't have to worry about it. So if it sticks one here, just ignore it, that's what I do. It does nothing really. But if you're a small prop and you happen to get into this poop bomb situation, it's gonna really slow you down and do more damage. So say you happen to just trigger it and like just unprop and just run through it. Now I'm still testing this at the moment, but let's say if Sheepman does manage to hook you, the best thing to do, you're going to be facing when he hooks you, the best thing to do, because he's going to be facing opposite you, is to run around him and try and get away. Again, small prop if possible. Or you can even go for a stun. Just depends what you have available. What I like to do personally is have a camera handy to flash him to give me that little bit of opportunity to escape him. But other than that, you just want to do what I've said, and you usually do pretty well against him. I've not really run into any issues with him. I can also pull off the human bonk, and he'll try to do the gas thing, but because you're a human, it doesn't do that much damage and it doesn't slow you down. Okay, so let's talk Akasha. the vampire. Now she's just basically an M1 killer with a speed increase, a shadow form. You want to just do the usual like sprint and get distance because she has this dash. It's called Blade Dance, and she'll use that and she'll gain like a lot of distance and catch up to you pretty quickly. But if you're running away, you can tank that anyway, you know, so just run away from her and do the usual. Like prop, get distance. That's what I like to do, just run like that, get away from her, and sometimes human bunker. And, she might try and chase you in shadow form. I think you can still stun her in the current build, you can still stun her in shadow form, so a human bunker also works. The door doesn't work because she phases through the doors, so what I tend to do is just stand at the door itself and try and predict when she's going to come out of shadow form and then just close it in her face, basically. A body blocker. Now she has the eye ability, which she'll place down probably at a chair or a generator, and what that does is just shows your aura if you're in the range of it, and it gives you like a sound notification. It doesn't really do anything other than that. It's not very good, unfortunately, because I do like Akasha. But you don't have to worry about that really unless she's putting it near a gen that you're trying to do. I like to just keep going back to a gen trying to bug her so she's going to that one, not another one. But yeah, for the most part that's really all there is to Akasha. She's just an M1, which is like mouse 1 killer. Actually, you handle most kills that way, to be honest with you, just sprinting and getting distance. Now Imposter, he's a different one because he's got the ability to be just like you, and he can move just like you. You've got to be careful. Now, the best thing to do if you're playing against Imposter and someone approaches you, just run away. That's what I do, just run away. Back away, looking at them and see what they do. See if they follow you, if they hide, if they get on a gen, if they pop and stuff. And depending on that, like, you're gonna notice him. If they follow you, it's obviously Imposter trying to kill you. So, do the usual. Sprint, get away. And prop. Now Imposter, he's had a change recently. He's faster than you in prop form, so he's gonna catch up to you. But again, you just get distance and then go for a door and stun. Now the Imposter, he can jump through glass on the doors, so you have to be wary of this. I usually tend to predict this, and as I see the Imposter approaching the door, I run through the other side. He'll jump over me and then I close the door in his face and get a stun. Against Imposter, it's all about your movement, because forget he can do the same movements you can. Depending on his distance to you, you don't want to be... Say like he's right behind me, you don't want to be like this and he's right behind you, because he can just come out of his prop form and just hit you, and you're going to be like, oof, in trouble. Again, use either your human form or your bigger props for tankiness, depending on the health situation. And also depending on that, will depend on whether you make it and manage to escape. If you can get to a certain spot and lose line of sight again, you can always go for the stealth prop juke approach. Just depends really on what you are doing. But yeah, for the most part, Imposter is just basically just running and again managing your stam. Just keep running and getting distance. Now, Imposter also has this ability to... He can use voice commands like yourself, and it will play a voice command of the survivor that he's impersonated. So just listen for that. But if you see on the top left corner, if you see no voice command there for that particular voice command that he used at that time, it means that's him and is trying to mess with you. Now if you're on a machine, you can also use his ability to basically trigger a gen break, and it can detect which machines are being worked on if you're on one, but you'll also see his red aura, so look out for that. It will cause a bit of gen regression, but you can quickly get that back. Right, great. check. It might come to your generator, so just do the usual, just hide, play it safe, be cautious, and if not, just stick on the gen and repair. So let's say we're playing against Granny. Again, much like Sheepman, I like to be a small prop and run away as a small prop, get distance. But Granny's aim is more accurate, so this is not as safe, but it's making you less of a target. So you just want to get distance from her, but she may use her speed ability where she can catch up to you, and she's also invisible. And that's usually where I try to go for a bonk then, because I could be at a risky part and I just, again, human bonker. And if I miss, then try again. Yeah, you generally want to go with a smaller prop with Granny. She has the cloak ability. She can also put down a floating knife, which will do some damage to you. They'll usually place them at generators or chairs if a survivor is chaired. So what I like to do against Granny usually, I'll play Tiger with the medkit, so I can just keep tanking her knives and quickly heal up, and not a problem really. Say, oh, knife, no problem. Granny, no problem. Okay, so it's Igor, and you can hear this weird, like, crazy laugh sound. You're thinking, what the hell is coming for me? Not necessarily. That's one of his abilities. It's used as a way to throw off people hearing the killer's terror radius, which is what happens when your screen will go black and you'll hear the killer approaching. Now the best way to play around that is if you hear that, you don't actually know if he's going for you or for someone else, so be cautious. Like, try and get a look out of your surroundings and see where he is. Just play it safe, and then once you know it's safe to repair a generator, just continue doing so. Now let's say he chases you, he's more likely going to come at you with a chainsaw sprint. Now this is the tricky part with Igor, because you want to get away fast, because he's also fast, but you're going to be a small prop to do that more than likely. That's health, may die quicker, which again is where your human bonks come in because you can stun him. I keep saying human bonks because I'm assuming you're not using a camera or a jar, blind jar, slow down jar, that type of stuff, or even an energy drink. Say he's chasing me, I will usually take a hit like this, get some distance and try and stun him at doors. But if he revs his chainsaw and comes straight towards the door and hits the door, it's going to be destroyed in one hit as opposed to two. So you've got to be really careful with the timing of this and try and get it to the point where it actually stuns him, otherwise your door's gone. Oh crap, another hit. You might go down. Which is where you might have to rely on stuns. I'd say definitely Igor is one of those killers that you have to rely on stuns and items to get away from most time because he is so fast. He's also got the ability to throw these grenades, which he can do in chase as well. So not only are you having to like get distance, you're having to dodge these freaking bombs coming at you, and also keeping an eye on where he's gonna come from and try and stun him at the same time. He's not like an easy killer to go against. He will take some practice, but with time, you will get there. As with all killers, it's just going to take time and practice. But if you follow these tips and how to counter the killers, you're definitely going to improve. It's something I've learned through my playtime. I have 500 hours playtime now, and I'm still learning because the game keeps changing as to keep bringing out new updates and stuff. But at the moment, this is the up-to-date stuff that I know of the game and how to counter these killers. Who knows what's going to be next, what changes are going to bring out. I can quickly touch on the killer items. So the killer items that you really want to worry about, I'd say, is probably the poison one, the hammer, because that's going to regressions faster, and the boots for speed, because it's going to make killers faster. So using these tricks in this guide, you're going to have to adjust them depending on what items they have. They can also have the cryosphere, which if you try to stun the killer, it's gonna like freeze you above their head. But honestly, it doesn't really do much. It just means that you're gonna get a bit less distance. It's nothing to worry about. The poison one, when they hit you, it'll apply a damage over time. It's a max of 10 damage, I believe. 2 health per second. Now the hammer, if you see a killer get the hammer, they're gonna try and stop your gens from being repaired. And honestly, the easiest way to counter the hammer is if you see a killer break a gen and they've got armor equipped, just quickly run up to it and tap F. That completely stops the gen regression. This also applies to a normal break as well, and just makes them use their hammer charges, and they've got to buy more items because you just switch them. Now there's a lightning thing which applies damage to another survivor that's nearby you, but I've not really noticed that being of any use, honestly. I don't really think it's anything to worry about. Right, so someone has gone down and they've been stuck in one of these things. A chair. Now these work by you can get chaired twice, and on your third time you're going to die. That's assuming you got saved from a chair, or you saved a teammate from a chair before they reached 60 seconds on their chair timer. Because once that happens, they've basically lost their second chances, they're dead. So you should really only get saves when the killer is far away from the chair. Now if the killer keeps going back to the chair, and you're going to see like a red aura when the killer's around it, so you know they're proxy camping. Now what you don't want to do is just run in and like save your friend there, because that's what I would call survivor induced tunneling, which is not fun for anyone. As much of a strategy is for the killer, it's not fun to be on the receiving end of, so to avoid that, only do safe saves. Now let's say the killer is going back to the chair repeatedly and you need to get the survivor before they reach what I call second phase, 60 seconds on the timer. You can do this a few ways. You can try and stun the killer to get the save by prop, human stun, human bonk, or an item, ideally the camera. You can even use a blind jar or a slow down jar just so you can get your teammate, but you just generally just don't want to save a survivor if the killer's known to be proxy camping or even like right here, because it's going to result in tunneling and that survivor's going to go down quicker because they've got less health. When you get saved from a chair, you have less health to start off with. Don't save when the killer is nearby, and if the killer does keep camping, the best thing to honestly do if they're playing in that particular style is just get on a prop machine and do them. If you do this right, at the most, the killer's going to get 2 kills and you can escape. But if you keep playing into their strat and keep going to save a teammate, you're actually helping the killer and making them kill you quicker. So don't do that if that's what they're doing. Okay, so let's talk about items now. So when you spawn in as a survivor, you will spawn with an item. And you can also get items from this beauty here. But to do that, you have to do generators, stun the killer, or run around the map and collect these gold shiny coins. And it takes 1,000 to open this and get an item which is random. But the item you spawn with is not. You can always spawn with that one. And it also makes you more likely to get that particular item in this chest. Now, Tiger, she spawns with medkits, which are honestly one of the best in the game. You've got Isaac with his camera, which is also a really good item to have because it can get you out of a chase for free. You have Mabel, which is the Billie Eilish lookalike. She has the book, which will make you go invisible. You'll get a speed boost, and you also don't use any stam with that speed boost. It's really good for using when you have lost line of sight of the killer. That's how I use it. You also have Kate, who spawns with the builder's kit, which is basically you spawn with 3 pieces of wood and you can build a piece of wood in like a doorway, for example, or 3 pieces if you want to make it really annoying with the killer, which is what I personally like to do. You can place them, depends, you can barricade yourself around the generator, you can block this door, you can block the exit gates, it just depends what you want to do. You can just, I don't know, build a base if you want to do that. And then you have Chris, who spawns with an energy drink which will give you a speed boost and replenish your stamina, which is also really good in chases and against any killer really, because against, like I said earlier, stand management is what this game is all about. Yeah, that's the items you spawn with as a survivor. Now in this chest you can get a jar, you can get a toolbox, and then you can get the other items that the character will spawn with, which again is increased chance depending on who. Like for Tiger for example, I'm more likely to get medkits and pills, healing stuff, yeah? Now the items in the chest usually come in different rarities. You have like standard ones, which is what your character spawn with, and you have like rare and then legendary, which usually don't disappear. They go on like a timer slash cooldown and you can reuse them again. They're honestly some of the best items to have, the legendary ones. So yes, that is items. Okay, so when it comes to the exit doors, you've powered all the prop machines and the doors are highlighted red. Now, you want to open these obviously to escape, but what I do is what I call 99 in them. You're going to get like a white bar on screen. I can't get it here because I'm in practice mode, but you want to get that white bar to just 99% and then leave it, because once you open the doors, you actually have less time to make sure everyone's safe. Once you open the door, I think your timer goes to like a minute or something like that. So you don't want to be opening it straight away, because again, it benefits the killer to do that. You want to just wait. Now if someone else opens the other door and the timer's going down, what I also like to do then with my door that's 99 is wait till the timer's getting low and then open it again and give some more time, because for some reason it refreshes the timer. 99 doors if possible, because once the gens are done, the kill's got nothing else to do, so they're either going to patrol in the doors like a madman, or they're going to down someone and camp them and keep waiting for you to come in, which is where the extra time comes in, because you've got the extra time to hopefully get the save if you want to do that, and then escape. Another thing is if the kill's patrolling the doors and none are open, they've got no idea which door's ready to pop open. Okay, so that is the end of the Survivor Guide for Propnight. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, then be sure to let me know. And until next time, I will catch you all later. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.